Hello, beautiful friends, and welcome to the Highest Level You podcast. I am your host, Melissa Millar, and I am just so excited to take you on this ride with me because it has been on my heart for quite a while. This has been a long time coming, and what I have for you in the upcoming weeks and months is going to be in the highest service of purpose-driven entrepreneurs, coaches, healers, creators, leaders, in whatever sense, whatever the case may be. And whether you're just starting out or you've been at it for a while, or maybe you want to get started, you're somewhere in there. My intention is that this will be deeply empowering and healing and validating and supportive for you. And also fun because most of us are honestly just walking around and taking life way too freaking seriously, myself included at times, don't get me wrong. It's just super important that we sprinkle a little bit of fun into the mix as well to sort of spice things up because otherwise, what's the point, right? And, none of us are getting out alive. Whatever stage of the game you're in, if you're listening to this and you are pulled to this podcast for whatever reason, I actually already know a little something about you. And that is that you have a big, bold, beautiful vision and an incredible, meaningful mission to pursue, a deeper purpose to fulfill, if you will. It's this pull that your soul is guiding you into. It's literally like this tangible, sort of visceral sense that you know that you can't not do the thing, right? You know that you're meant for that something bigger, whatever that might be. And if you know what that is at this point and you're pursuing that, then that is amazing. If you're kind of like on your soul path, soul pull already. And if you don't quite know what that is yet, what that looks like yet, that is also amazing because that is all part of the fun. I very much know that it might not feel like fun at the time, but it's a necessary part of the journey for sure. So, what we're going to dive into here together are um, all things that are keeping you from stepping into that next level version of you and embracing your potential so that you can serve in a bigger way and have the impact that you can have, you're meant to have, and all of the amazing lives that you're meant to change in this lifetime. So, what holds us back from our greatness? What makes us shrink and hide when we know what we really need to do is shine brighter and bolder and unapologetically? And what keeps us stuck in that sort of limited low level thinking, especially when deep down we know that we're limitless, right? We're going to have really juicy conversations around all things human potential, human behavior, neuroscience, energetics, spirituality, and more. Because we can't talk about these things in depth without bringing in each of these other components because they all fit together and collaborate so beautifully. So they all have to get a piece of the pie. So you'll get to sit in also on some really real and honest and raw conversations with some incredible women to learn how they overcame some of the most common and persistent challenges that come up when you're on this journey, right? So things like the resistance, the self-doubt, the overthinking, the perfectionism, all those things. There's a very long list, and we'll get into it, trust me. We'll be talking about rewiring old patterns, shifting beliefs, more like excavating beliefs. That's kind of my jam. And then, dissolving them and creating new ones. Strengthening your level of self-trust and confidently aligning your energy with the impact that you're here to create, aligning with the vision that you have. And if you're anything like the people that I work with, and honestly, if you're like me too, you've probably spent a lot of time already learning and growing and doing the quote unquote work. You've probably read all the books and taken the courses and hired all of the mentors and the coaches. You've probably, done the masterminds and programs, what have you, right? Maybe you've tried the manifestation hacks and the vision boards. Nothing wrong with any of these things, by the way, just a side note. But you know that you're capable of so much more, and yet sometimes there's still this like invisible wall between you and that next level that you can feel calling you and pulling you forward. And so that is what this podcast is really about. It's about getting underneath the strategies and underneath the surface level fixes and actually understanding what's happening inside you, like mentally, emotionally, physically, energetically, when you hit that edge between where you are and where you know you're meant to go. Because the truth is that resistance comes up for a reason, right? Um, so like, self-doubt and procrastination, perfectionism and distraction and overwhelm, these are all protective patterns. These are all your system's way of trying to keep you safe when it senses expansion. But if you don't understand that, you don't understand what's really happening in those moments, you keep interpreting it as failure or, lack of discipline when it's just part of your biology. So, here we're going to talk about all of it, how to navigate that resistance. I'm never going to use the word overcome resistance, overcome fear, because we're going to learn how to get it on our side. Um, and it's going to be really, really, really fun. And we're going to learn how to rebuild self-trust and how to regulate your nervous system so you can move forward and have the clarity and the confidence to do so, right? And that authentic innate confidence that we all have. And how to finally stop fighting yourself, right? On the way to your next level. And you're going to hear some solo episodes where I'll break down the science and the energetics behind these patterns that hold us back, and conversations with incredible guests, like I said, who are on that similar path of purpose and impact and evolution. So we are going to keep it real in here. Hopefully, we'll laugh a lot. There might be an F bomb or two. No promises. And my goal is that you'll walk away from every episode just feeling more seen, feeling more grounded, and more empowered than before. So if you're ready to start playing the bigger game, then this is going to be the right place for you. So, all of that said, where do we start? I think the most powerful place to begin is with the truth that your next level isn't something that you have to like force yourself into. Um, but it is something that you have to start allowing and embodying, because most people think that the gap between where they are and where they want to be is all about like efforting their way into it, right? Like more strategy, more structure, more hustle. And please don't get me wrong. These are important things. We need the action steps. That is 50% of the puzzle. Okay. If anybody tries to tell you one more time to just align and surrender and allow, and everything's gonna fall into your lap magically, run as fast as you fucking can, because in reality what's keeping you stuck, it isn't what you're not doing, because you probably are doing a lot. We're gonna get into the beliefs. It's what you're still believing. So the version of you who plays small is just trying to protect you. Okay, so there is nothing broken here. There is nothing wrong. Like I said earlier, it's perfectly biological. So the version of you who overthinks everything, wants to perfect everything, prove your way into love and acceptance, she is running on a old, crappy, outdated program that you adopted a long time ago because it kept you safe in some way. So it was like an adaptive behavior, right? And so this is where we learn things like this about ourselves. And it really starts to let things click, because when you start to see resistance as the feedback that it is, the data and the information that it is, and not as this thing that we have to fight against, or as this like, thing holding us back, or this setback, but really just again as information, as a sign, an indicator that you are actually expanding and you're growing and you're evolving. Everything changes once you have that shift, because you stop fighting against yourself. It's not you against you all the time. You stop sort of pushing a shit boulder up a hill and start working with yourself. And that ends up bringing out so much more, again, that confidence and clarity piece, right? And so that's where That's what we're gonna do here. We're gonna help you to recognize those invisible limits, understand where they come from, and learn how to move through them and release them in a way that feels really light, really simple, really freeing, and again, fun, right? So you're gonna start seeing how neuroscience and energetics, they aren't two separate things, really. They're two sides of the same coin. Your nervous system and your energy field are constantly in communication with one another. And when you learn how to regulate and rewire and realign both of them, it's really, really, really magical what can happen. Especially when you start learning that you can literally, play with your energy field to create your life by design and get really fancy with it. You become really freaking unstoppable. So don't you worry, we're going to talk about that in the future. So, but anyways, when your energy and beliefs and actions start speaking the same language, you stop just thinking about your next level and you start living it more, living in it, and embodying it more. So as we move forward in this series, we'll say together, I want to invite you to really start noticing something. I want you to start noticing where your energy contracts. Does it contract when you think about or talk about your vision? Maybe it's when you first meet somebody and they're like, hey, what do you do? And you're like, oh, how do I explain all this? I don't even know how to explain this. That's my personal experience. Where do you play it safe, even though you can feel something pulling at you, something bigger, something more meaningful pulling at you? Because this is not self-sabotage. Let's be perfectly clear. This is just self-protection. And when we see it for what it really is, then we stop judging ourselves. We stop being so shitty and cruel to ourselves. And it lets us start working with that instead of against it, if that makes sense. And so that's the magic of the work, the inner work, the real inner work. It's not like a fixing thing, right? We're reconnecting you to the truth of who you already are. Before the fear, before the programming, before the pressure to prove yourself, before the world piled all those layers on you that made you dim your light. You've always been powerful. You've always been intuitive. You've always been capable of creating and having this incredible impact. It's just that somewhere along the way, or maybe, many places along the way, you learn to turn the volume down, we'll say. And so now what we're kind of trying to do is turn the dial way back up because the world doesn't need another, watered down, perfectly polished version of you. It needs the real, it needs the messy, it needs the magnetic and the fully expressed you, especially in the world of AI today. Like, we need this more than ever. So, we need the version of you who trusts herself, um, doesn't ask or wait for permission, who's done playing small, finally ready to elevate their level of impact in all areas of life, not just professionally speaking. And so that is what we're here to do together. To help you remember your power, rewire your patterns, evolve into the version of you who leads, creates, and lives from her highest level. So, over the next few episodes, we're going to dive into what that all looks like. Not just conceptually, but practically. And we'll talk about what resistance really is a little bit deeper and how to move through it. And we'll explore the neuroscience behind all kinds of, different behaviors. Again, human potential, human behavior, all that kind of stuff. It all, how neuroscience ties into that. We'll talk about, energetics of being visible and confidence and the energy behind all of that, what's needed for all of that to kind of come together, I guess we'll say. And we're also going to get into sort of the sneaky ways that your nervous system might be trying to keep you safe from success. Okay. So, wherever you are on your journey, whether you're just getting started or you've been at this for a while, my hope is that this podcast becomes a place where you really do feel seen and maybe even called out a little bit in the best way. I want you to feel supported here and just really lit up again. Okay. Because if you're here, you're not just, building a business, building a career, building your leadership, whatever. You're creating transformation, and that has to start with you, no matter what. It all starts in you. So here's your reminder for today. You are not behind. For those of you thinking, why am I not further ahead by now? You are not broken. For those of you thinking, what the hell is wrong with me? Why am I so stuck? Why can't I just get myself to do this thing? You are just in this really, really beautiful, messy middle of your growth edge. And it's a process of becoming your higher self. It's a product of becoming your higher self. All of this gets to come with it. And so this is when things are going to start really clicking for you. So that is what I have for you today. If you're ready to really hit the ground running and you want to discover the hidden pattern or patterns behind why you keep hiding and hesitating and hedging, and why this keeps happening over and over again for years, maybe, I'd love for you to go check out my free resistance archetype quiz. That is going to set you up for a massive self realization. So I have that linked up for you. Let me know what comes up. I always love hearing the aha moments and breakthrough moments, things like that. And also, if this episode resonated with you today, it would mean the absolute world if you shared it, subscribed, left a quick review or comment, depending on which platform you are listening or watching from. It just helps more people like you find this work, and it is so needed in the world today. So, also, part of my mission is to create a ripple effect. So, we are just getting started here, and trust me, the next few episodes are going to help you see yourself and your business and your work and your relationships and your potential in a completely new and exciting and refreshing way. So I am sending you so much love, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. And I will talk to you again soon. Bye.